Hi guys, welcome back to Technique Matters. Today we're going to talk about the bench press in our bench series. And what we're going to especially talk about today is, are you retracting enough for the bench press or are you retracting too much for the bench press? Hi guys, this is Clinton and I've been wanting to share this information to you guys because I have seen quite a lot of people going ham on the retraction when they are benching, even at the start. So when they set up, they are fully retracted and then they go down, they retract. They try to retract even more, and then when they press, they have a lot of loss of power from there. Everything seems to be pretty slow from there. There's a reason for it, and today I'm going to explain it to you. But before we do that, one of the most important thing about a bench press is obviously retraction and depression. If you don't know what is that, go check it out. We have everything about retraction and depression in our previous bench press videos, and this video, it's an add-on to what you have learned from our videos, okay? Talking about retraction and depression, we all know that in our bench press we need that. But how much retraction and depression do we need in the bench press, and at which stage of the bench press we need to focus more whether or not is it depression or retraction, okay? So without further ado, I'm going to have JJ over here. He's going to show you a couple of things which I want to show you guys as well. Okay, so looking from the back, okay? So just focus on his back, alright? So imagine he's holding a bench press and he's setting up, okay? What he wants to do, so when he's setting up, the bar is obviously higher, okay? At the end of the day, he wants to bring it down to around the shoulder level, okay? So when the bar is here, imagine you are someone who likes to retract a lot. All you care about is retraction. You don't give no shit about depression. So you go for full retraction, okay? So once you create that full retraction already, right, there's no more room for your scapular to go in, okay? And then when he unrack, bam, yeah, even though it looks like he's chest up, depressed enough, but actually there's lack of depression over here. See, try to depress. Yeah, okay? And then when you are fully retracted, it is hard to create more depression. And which is why when he descends, there's no way for him to retract his shoulder blades anymore. So there's no retraction and protraction. Then when he press, imagine you are trying to keep the retraction. There's no way for him to press with his pectoral muscles, which is the chest. When you do a bench press, obviously you want to work the chest, right? So if you are doing bench press and you cannot feel your chest, it's definitely more or less because of you trying to focus so much on the retraction and not allowing your body to naturally do its work. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is, if you are retracting too hard, it is very hard for you to get your shoulders in a proper position whereby you can allow more pectoral muscles to do the work. Which also means that there's lack of depression when you are fully retracted like that during the setup. I want to repeat myself, during the setup, you should not retract yourself fully, okay? So once again, we have JJ over here. Now I'm going to show you a very simple analogy to help you understand why we focus on depression during the setup, okay? So imagine JJ is lying down on a bench before he's unracking. What he wants to do is just lightly keep the shoulders back. Okay, now I want you to focus more on the depression. Okay, you see, once he tried to do the depression before he fully retract his shoulder blades, he can actually push his shoulders even more, to the extent where his neck right here, the traps are not that engaged as compared to fully retraction first. See, over here his traps are fully engaged. Over here on the lats is not engaged. So the bottom line of this, what I'm trying to say is, when you are setting up, try to think about slightly shoulder blades back, more on the depression. Then you can get that arch. You see from the side, once again, depress. Then you can get that arch. Alright, so that is the setup part. In a bench press, during the setup, all you need to do is to keep your shoulder blades back so that your shoulders does not start like that. Just keep it by the side. Focus on depression first, and then unrack the weight, okay? So about the shoulder position should be good. If you are confident enough, try to bring it down. So how much depression you need to work, I will show you later, but obviously it's just letting gravity do its work, okay? If you are depressing too hard, your shoulder will end up higher than your wrist, and obviously the weight will drop down. So why would you want to put yourself in that kind of trouble? All you need to do is to depress, and then if you feel like the weight is balanced and that's it, you can stop there. Alright, so once again, I would like to show you guys how we want to set up properly. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is, at which stage of your bench press should you focus more on the retraction. This is JJ setting up. So assuming this is you are lying down, okay? If you only think about retraction and no depression, let's do that. Retract only. You see, in this part, right, you definitely, when you unrack, you cannot really depress the weight down. So your shoulders are it ends up like the shoulders is high and then you're engaging your traps too much. Okay, then put it back. Okay, instead, what we're gonna do is we depress first. So come closer. All right, so just lightly keep the shoulders blades back, okay? You're not fully retracting your scapula. We can't show you that, but obviously the shoulders are just behind. The next thing you wanna do is to pull yourselves up backwards. So you sort of relax the shoulders and really force the depression down like that. Okay, and then obviously you'll be using your legs as well. And then you put the bar down. Right, okay, so this is a balanced position for JJ. If I were to depress even more, pull down, you will feel like his shoulders is being engaged, and this is not what we want. And then if I pull down, he's gonna fail, right? So this is a balanced position for him. That is all. You just need to depress until in that position, okay? Let's put the butt down. Now we're gonna talk about the next part, which is when should I focus on retraction? During the descent, okay? So as JJ is descending, he's gonna focus about bringing the scapula together. Okay, let's go. Squeeze the scapula in. Look, so his chest elevates as the bar goes down. And then you press. When you press, you wanna try and create that full pressing motion. So it's okay for you to protract and bring the scapula back into the starting position again, okay? So let's do some more and then show it to the audience. So this is how you do it. If the depression is done well, and you focus the retraction during the descent, you can actually keep the peak high, meaning your chest high, and then you press, and maintaining a very good position on the elbows as well as the leg drive.
What's up guys, this is JJ from Technique Matters. So we're going to give you an additional setup cue to help you kind of secure your shoulder position for the bench press. And we want to use this cue to help you do it right so you don't get excessive shoulder retraction or excessive shoulder depression. We're going to have, so the cue that I'm going to show you today is basically setting yourself sort of the right distance from the rack. All right, and it's very important that you do this because I'll explain in a few ways. Because first and foremost, you don't want to be setting up too low from the rack, because what that actually does to you is you actually starts your shoulder in an elevated position, right? So then imagine if you have like 100 kilos on the bench, and then you have to take it out, and then you have to depress after that, right? So it's very inefficient. It's a waste of energy that could be better spent pressing on the bench press, right? And then the second thing is, how do we actually, once we found or we think we found the right distance, how do we actually secure the shoulder and maintain that kind of right distancing from the bench press? All right, so I'm going to show you very quickly with Clinton's help now. So Clinton's just going to do his regular setup. So what I want you to do, Clinton, is just set out how you usually set up, and then just kind of hold that position, right? Without unracking the bar. So you can see that. So if we look from the side, if we look just straight dead side, you can see that where Clinton's shoulder is in relation to the sort of J cups of the bench, right? Obviously, this will differ for different sort of setups. We're very lucky here to have the Eleiko. So you can see that the lip of the bench press is actually not too deep. So he doesn't need to set up super far away from it. So Clinton, if you maybe set up slightly lower a bit on the bench press. So what we can see is now there's so much gap for him, right? And in order for him to start, the bar is already maybe over his nose, and for him to start, if you unrack the bar, you see how much he has to travel, and you see how much distance he has from the rack, right? There's no way he's going to hit the rack, so he might as well be better off setting up slightly higher on the rack. So if you go back to your regular position, all he needs is just enough clearance from the J cups over here. So that's it. That's all you need. He can kind of press back and kind of misgroove and all that kind of stuff, and he's still never going to hit the rack, right? And you can see that if you just put the bar back in the rack for me, you can see that right now it's about his chin height or even his neck height. So obviously this will differ if you depending on your arch. It will differ depending on the length of your neck and different things like that. But generally speaking, if you look from the side, if you film from the side, you want your shoulder just in front of the cups, because if you unrack it right, that will be just the right amount for you without having to overly think about retraction or depression or having to really crank down on your shoulders to achieve a good starting position. The second thing we're going to talk about is once you have kind of ascertained what is the right height. So for some people it might be chin, for some people it might be neck. Once you've kind of, found the right height, the next thing we want to do is we want to secure that shoulder into position. All right, and how we're going to do this is we're going to use our legs and our leg drive to help us to do this a lot better. All right, so a common mistake that I see people do is they try to really crank down on they try to depress, and then they try to really use all their muscles like their lats, their pecs, everything to just squeeze the shit out of everything, right? Those muscles are helping you stabilize, yes, but if you are getting them to do a job of depression, then you're actually taking away their capacity to actually help you to do that role of stability. And another reason why you don't really want to be cranking down on your shoulders with your lats and all that is because if you think about the joint itself, you have obviously your humerus and you have your scapula, right? So if you are trying to depress the scapula, you're actually moving the scapula away from the humerus, and what that actually creates is you actually pull on the muscles that are holding the humerus on the scap, right? So then obviously you get a little bit of discomfort there because you're now stretching that muscle and you're creating a lot of instability because those muscles are not at the right length to be strong. The shoulder depression should not really come from squeezing or using a muscular strategy. It should come from the legs, right? So if Clinton sets up again, what we want him to do is he kind of knows where his position is. So his shoulders are relaxed. So just relax your shoulder and then use your legs to kick yourself into the bench. All right, and then so you can just set up as you used to. So he's kicking, the shoulders are naturally down, and then unrack. So you see what he doesn't do when he unracks is he doesn't squeeze. So if you squeeze, so he doesn't do that, right? Because what that does is what I said previously, you move the scapula away, like downwards, and if you retract, then you move downwards and inwards away from your shoulder, because your shoulder obviously is stuck in position and it can't go anywhere. So we want to keep that scap kind of relatively relaxed and use the legs to kind of secure our shoulders on the bench. So Clinton, if you show them again how this looks like. So his shoulders very relaxed, and then he's using his legs to push and then unrack. So you see there's no cranking, there's no excessive kind of movement in there. So if you get the right distancing from the rack, you don't need to actively depress because you're using your legs to hold that position. And I guarantee you your quads are a bigger muscle than any of your shoulder muscles that can help you to create depression. Guys, if you are struggling to really find a good starting shoulder position, make sure that you actually pay attention to your setup. Make sure you pay attention to the right distancing from the rack. Make sure that you're using your legs to push, and at the same time, you should think about retraction and depression, but you shouldn't be trying to squeeze everything because that actually creates a lot more instability. Let the shoulder be in a good position to retract as you come down and hold that depression as you press, right? So you will allow all of your muscles to work a little bit better, and you'll maximize all of the muscles that can help you to have a bigger bench press. All right, so if you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and then share it with people that you think can help, and also maybe comment down below what else you want to see from us regarding the bench press. And if that's all for this week, so we'll catch you next time.